Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And today I am back with two more reviews of two books in the Alex Verus series. In particular, book 6 and book 7, Veiled and Burned. So these are two drastically different books. I'm kind of glad I decided to review these books in pairs moving forward, because it gives me a way to kind of compare these two books in particular. So first off, we have Veiled. In this one, following the events of the previous book, Alex has pretty much pitched in with one of the factions that has been one of the major factions in this world. And this book is all about him starting to kind of find his place within that faction. So we meet a bunch of new characters, we see the inner workings, the politics of this faction, and overall it's a bit of a step back. It's a much slower book because there's quite a bit of building that has to happen. Alex has a mentor and he has this new relationship going on as part of this. And it's a very different book. It's a bit slower. It's not there, whereas there are still some action sequences in here. There's just not as many because Alex isn't this unaligned mage anymore. He's as a consequence of joining this faction, a lot of the threats that have a lot of the minor ones at least that tend to crop up around him, they've kind of scaled back. And instead this book it's about him interacting with this with this faction, and given his checkered past, a lot of it is pretty aggressive, but passive aggressive in the way, not quite passive aggressive, but more of that antagonistic kind of relationships with the people that he has to work with. And a lot of it is just straight up also backbiting, because don't forget, even though he's joined this faction, there are some very senior members of it who want to see him dead and gone. And that does play a factor in this book, through some of the scenes. But like I mentioned, overall a much slower book, a bit of a step back, a bit of a world building. This book actually feels like honestly for me, this book felt like this is kind of like a taste, a teaser of what Alex's story could have been before we get something pretty drastic happen. It also feels like a way to kind of highlight one of the two paths that lies before him, if that makes sense. And it shows that it kind of serves to underline what's to come. It feels like it feels very different from the rest of the book so far. And I guess in a way it's all just set up. It just feels like set up for me at this point. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about Veiled. The subplot in the book in particular isn't really over the top. It's just different things that Alex really deals with as part of this new as part of his position in this new faction. And in terms of like characterization, we meet a bunch of new people as can be expected, but a lot of them are largely forgettable. A number of them don't quite make it to the end of the book. So I'm not really gonna waste time. At this point, it's like I've said in the past, Benedict Jackal just does a good job of fleshing out Alex's character, and the people who are quite close to him, the other characters who are more backdrops, they're very much backdrops. He doesn't spend much time on them, and I'm fine with that. And a lot of the people in this book is pretty much just backdrops. So that's where we kind of leave things there. And then we get to Burned, the 7th book in the Alex Verus series. And this is very much the beginning of the end. So, in this book, the faction who's always been against Alex in the Light Council, they've succeeded in getting a kill order issued for him. So Alex has 7 days before the full might of the Light Council comes down on him, before him and all his known associates get wiped off the face of the earth. Now this is the Light Council. He does not have he does not have a chance in hell of like overpowering these guys or outfighting them. A lot of them are mages with much more battle oriented skills than him, as much as Alex tends to kind of maneuver himself in battles. He can't take these guys in a straight up fight. So a lot of this book is just, it's very intense. It's literally a race for life and death, a race against time, with a sword of Damocles hanging over him and his companions throughout it. So this pretty much puts everyone's life on the line that we've met so far who's aligned with Alex. And it was really good. Like, it was hot from start to finish. It feels almost like the previous book that, like I mentioned, was so much setup. It was meant to catapult you into this kind of story moving forward. So yeah, like, intense from start to finish. This book has massive ramifications for the series, and yeah. what else? Like, what else can I say about this book? Except it only gets good from here. Like, at this point, Alex has to kind of face a choice of what direction he's gonna take, because it's quite clear that he tried one of the factions in the previous book. It did not work out for him. Now he has a faction literally at his after his out for his life, and he's now going to be forced to make that choice. I think I think one of the characters already mentioned it, where they said he kind of has to become powerful enough to he either has to join a faction or become powerful enough that neither of the factions will mess with him. And this is the crossroads where this book is the catalyst, the triggering event that kind of sends him down that path of which choice he'll make. So yeah. that's Born. What can we say? And oh my god, like, this book, I'll repeat it again. This book was intense from start to finish. It was just crazy plotted, and then the ending, the way this book ends. Oh my god, we already knew that this book was going to be bad. Like, things after this book were was going to be bad, but this is just on a whole other level that we see at the end of this book. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about these two books. At this point, if you're here and you're watching me talk about the 6 and 7 books in the series, I'm assuming you're a fan. I'm avoiding spoilers as much as possible. I'm pretty much giving you a rundown of where things are to go from here. Like, there's not much you can discuss at this point in the story without getting into spoilers. There's no point talking about how great Benedict Jacka's writing is, because he's proven over and over and over for 7 books now that he can write extremely intense, extremely gripping, extremely fast-paced novels. Well, with the exception of Veiled. That was, he had a different type of story to tell there, and his writing style did shift a little bit to accommodate that. But for the rest of these books, they've all been paced kind of like those action thrillers, like Clive Cussler and these guys. It's just from epic scene to epic scene, and you get a little rest on the momentum. It's just go. Yeah, he's got that crafted down to T. It fits well with the whole urban fantasy. Well, these style of urban fantasy books, the more popcorn, action based genre style urban fantasy, and yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about these two books. It only gets better from here. So yeah, that's it. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.